Greetings, and welcome back to the MCOC Encyclopedia. Today, we'll be continuing our journey into Act 6, covering all of the easiest paths. If multiple paths are an option in a quest, I will cover them all. Remember that these are just what I found easier, and your roster and experiences may vary. So let's dive in. Act 6, Chapter 4, Quest Number 4, Interplanetary Spark. This one, then one more, before the big bad Grand Master. Pretty much all the paths in this quest initially don't look too bad, but upon closer inspection, they all start to look significantly more nasty. The Ghost path, for example, has just Limber, Personal Space Fury, and Oscillate on it. But then you start to look at the defenders, and we see Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, and Nightcrawler, who are probably the most evadey champions in the game, as well as Ebony Maw, Darkhawk, Guillotine 2099 that all have Mist to deal with, and finally a MODOK who just loves to auto-block. Suddenly this path doesn't seem as inviting. The path I think you should take is the Sabretooth path, with Energy Adoption Fire, Hot and Bothered, and Icarus. Energy Adoption Fire means that when you hit the opponent or block one of their attacks, and they aren't bleeding, you have a 50% chance to be incinerated. Sounds pretty nasty. Well, these incinerates are tiny, and even with quite a few of them stacked up, willpower healing is more than enough to cover the health loss. It also means that the defender takes no damage from incinerates, and will actually heal whilst incinerated. Something to avoid. Hot and Bothered means that your defensive ability accuracy will be reduced by 80% whilst you're incinerated. This will affect things that trigger when they hit you, like parry, but with some of the suggested counters, we will fully mitigate this problem. And finally, Icarus, and this was the global from 6.2.3. Each hit gives you a Fury buff, but if you get 9 or more, then you will continue to gain Furies, but for each one you gain, you will also gain a fairly big degen debuff. You also gain one of these degens whenever a Fury expires, but we can safely remove the Furies by landing a heavy attack. This node is great, as with the right champions and counters, we can gain loads of Furies and work around the degens. For counters here, it is best to think about countering one problem and playing around the other. Bringing anyone that's Incinerate immune, such as Human Torch, Iceman, Sunspot, Kitty, Havoc, Void, Red Hulk, CGR, Claire in Incinerate mode, and so on, will mean that you don't have to worry about Energy Adoption Fire at all, but you will need to play around Icarus. Or you can bring Icarus counters and play around Energy Adoption Fire. For Icarus, some of our top options are Shruggers, including Kingpin, Mole Man, Shang-Chi or Jabari Panther, but the absolute queens of this quest are Ghost and Awakened Angela, and Sig-1 is fine. Ghost really likes the attack increase from the Furies from Icarus, but she can also convert both the degens and the Incinerates into Mega Furies for just an insane amount of damage. Awakened Angela will reduce the duration of damaging debuffs on her, scaling with her Sig, for each buff on her. But the Icarus buffs count towards this as well, meaning even at Sig-1 you will never see a single degen, and after just a few hits you won't see any Incinerates. These buffs also fuel the armor breaks she gets off her special attacks for a massive damage boost there as well. Top options for this quest. On this path, the first 6 defenders are fairly straightforward, with Massacre or Massacre having an interesting quirk that we'll need to have a look at, and the last 2 of Domino and the mini-boss Wasp being a bit of a pain. Apart from Wasp, there are no local nodes on this path, meaning that the only things to worry about before the last 3 defenders are Hela and Phoenix's Cheat Death, Hulk Ragnarok smash attacks, Stealthy's evades, and Miles's miss when you throw a special attack. If you can get through this fight without throwing a special attack, you'll never have to worry about that miss at all. Massacre, or Massacre, has an annoying ability, which means that when he should incinerate you, but you're immune to it, you will take a burst of damage instead. This is normally great for him on offense, but it turns out it works for all Incinerates, including when he's on defense, and that includes those from the Energy Adoption Fire node. We need to make sure the champion we use for him isn't directly Incinerate immune, but can still get around the Incinerates if we want to go down that path. Thankfully, he's not the hardest defender, and any of the Shruggers I've mentioned so far, or Angela or Ghost, will make light work of him. So for the more annoying fights, Domino, then Wasp. Domino doesn't actually bring anything different to the table, apart from the fact that she is Domino. Pretty much any standard Domino counter could work, but we will have Hot and Bothered to deal with, which boils down to not being able to parry her. Play the fight slowly and try not to hit her when she is lucky, as that's when she can evade you, and remember that you can't evade her when you are unlucky. This includes the projectile on the special one, so if you are unlucky and she throws it, you will just have to block it. Finally, Wasp. And she has her own local nodes of Rage 2.5 and Aggressive on top of the other nodes from the path. Rage will cap the damage you can deal to 2.5% of her maximum health, or about 4,000 damage per hit, and she will gain a fairly chunky Fury buff each time you try and deal more than this cap. Once she reaches 5 Fury buffs, she'll go fully unblockable. Aggressive just means that she'll play more aggressively and will dash at you and throw heavy attacks more often. This is actually good for us, as each time Wasp throws a heavy attack, or a special, she will shrink down and put her evade on cooldown for 10 seconds. Bait heavies and special ones to make sure she can't evade you, and use champions that don't hit too hard, or focus their damage around damage over time, or power stings, and you'll be fine. Great options here are Archangel, Kate Bishop, Nick Fury, Spider-Ham, Omega Red, Scorpion, and so on, but you'll need to remember to play around Icarus and energy adoption. Bait heavies from her so she can't evade you. If you do use Nick Fury, I'd try and stay in your first life so you don't hit too hard and trigger rage. And if you're finding this video helpful, please use damage over time on that like button. The boss in this quest is Captain Marvel Movie, and she has a whole load of nodes on her. Fortunately for us, we can ignore most of them. Energy sensitivity and down but not out will give her extra charges. Enhanced armor break will enhance her armor breaks by 40%, and crumbling armor means that if you don't hit her every 6 seconds, you will be armor broken. What's left? Well, we've got Close Encounters, which was the global from 6.1.4. If you're close to your opponent, you'll heal, but if you're far away, you'll degen. Last up is Heavy Hitter, meaning Captain Marvel Movie's heavy attacks will be unstoppable, so we can't punish them. That's all well and good, but the fact she is Captain Marvel Movie makes most of this pointless. Against Mystic champions, she will take energy damage each time she gains a charge. And she can gain a charge whenever you hit her block or deal her energy damage yourself. Any Mystic that deals energy damage will just shred through her. Any Mystic at all that can hit into her block a lot will deal a whole load of extra damage. Doctor Doom and his shocks and special 2 incinerates, Longshot on his special 2, Mephisto on his special 1, Claire with her incinerates, Kushala with her incinerates, Wiccan and his entire kit, and so on. They all make this fight pretty trivial. For our ideal team, well, Ghost and Angela make the path extremely easy, so we'll be starting with them. Wasp takes slot number 3 for the synergy with Ghost. For our last 2 slots, let's consider our pain points. Neither Ghost nor Angela are directly incinerate immune, so we don't have to worry about Massacre, and I'm happy enough ghosting Domino. That leaves us with Wasp and Captain Marvel Movie. For Captain Marvel Movie, we can bring any of the Mystics I said before, or just any Mystics at all. Doom or Claire are probably the best options, but for the follow-up video, I will be bringing a 3-star rank 3 Mephisto to show that pretty much any Mystic can work. This just leaves us with Wasp. For her, I think Archangel will do great. We don't have to worry about energy adoption as the damage isn't too high, and willpower will cover us for most of it. Archangel can't have his ability accuracy modified, so no need to worry about Hot and Bothered, and he likes to spam heavy attacks, so Icarus shouldn't be a problem either. Fairly soon after this video goes out, I will try and get up a short commentated video of me going through the path with the exact team I suggest. It'll be much more relaxed, but should hopefully give some more insight into how I look at getting around these issues. I will also answer any popular comments from this video in that video, so please leave yours down below. As always, remember that this is story content, so it won't be going anywhere anytime soon. If you get stuck here and find yourself spending lots of resources, stop and focus on something else. I know you're close to the Grandmaster and you really want to make that push, but it's not worth spending a whole load of resources when you're just missing the right champions. The monthly event quests and side quests are a great place to pick up more materials, shards, and units, as are battlegrounds and the arena. So, that's it. Everything you need to know to clear 6.4.4. We'll get you to the Grandmaster soon, so subscribe to see that. I also have a Discord server, so please go and join that. It's a great place to get specific advice, make suggestions for future video topics, and as long as I'm awake, I do my best to be there as much as possible. If you have any questions, please do leave them down below, and please do all the YouTube stuff. Thank you, and I will see you next time.